So in today's video, we're going to look at something that's incredibly important. How do you aim in snooker? So it's really important to be able to do this in a consistent way and have a good understanding of exactly what you're trying to do when you aim shots. So let's have a look in detail at how professional players aim, and that should give you a much better understanding of how you need to approach shots in a consistent way in the future. Right, so I've set myself up with this black off the spot here. Very common shot. We'd love to be able to pop these consistently. This is where you're going to do all of your scoring in snooker. So basically what I wanted to talk about first is the fact that we've got two lines when we're lining up shots. I'm actually stood here behind the line of aim. So this is the one that you'll hear me talking about in videos all the time. And this is the line that I need to stand behind before I do my walking and get down into the shot. But then we've also got this line as well. So now I'm stood behind the line that the black is going to take to the pocket. So when you see professional players aiming on the TV, you'll often see them come and have a look from this view and then go back to this view over here, so that they're looking at the ball from the actual line of aim before they walk in. Right, now with that in mind, let's have a look at what I see a lot of players trying to do when they aim shots. So you'll see them come round to here, have a look from this point of view, and then that gives them a point on the back of the black that they're trying to visualise in their mind. Keep that point in their mind, and then what they're trying to do is come back round to here with that point in their mind and get the white to hit that point and the ball go into the pocket. Now, I'm always teaching this in my sessions when I'm doing one-to-one lessons working with players on the table, that you have to be a little bit careful when you're aiming like that and looking at a point, and I'm going to show you exactly why here now. So if I was to come round to here, get my point that's on the back of the black, I'm looking at it from the line that it's going to take from the black to the pocket, get that point in my mind, and then if I come back round to here, so I'm standing behind the white now and I want my white to hit that point. This is what you have to be very careful of there. So as you can see on my graphic here, if I now just poke the white and I try and get the white to hit that point that I'm aiming at, so I'll just aim the middle of the white for that point on the black, you can see that actually what will happen is the white will hit the black a lot too thick and you'll actually catch the pot a bit too thick and it won't go into the pocket. So that's what I'm always telling people to be aware of. When they come round to this angle here and pick out a point, when you come back round here, you can't just aim the middle of the white at that point. It has to be that you have to make a little compensation and actually aim for more the edge of the white to hit that point. So in this case, it would be the right side of the white would need to hit that point to make the ball go into the pocket. Now, the other main way you've got of aiming is to use the ghost ball method that I'm sure you've all heard of. Now, this is the way I aim. This is the way I do it on every single shot. And in actuality, I don't worry too much about looking from this view when I'm lining up shots. I do it when the pot is difficult, but if I'd got my normal shots just around the black spot area like this, I don't really worry about lining it up from behind the black to the pocket each time to try and pot it. So then the ghost ball method works by imagining where your white needs to contact that black so that it goes into the pocket. So when I grab my cue and I'm standing up behind the line here trying to pick the line out, this is something that I have to do for myself. I have to try and find where I think the line of aim is. And what I'm doing when I do this is I'm imagining where my white ball is going to end up on that black. So a little bit like you can see again on the graphic, you're projecting where you think that white ball needs to strike the black so that it goes into the pocket. And by doing it that way, there's no compensation to be made. I'm just imagining where that white needs to end up, and that's where I aim to hit my white to end up on that white, which will pot the black. So the way I always tell people at first to visualise that is to imagine standing behind the shot. So you can see I'm standing behind what I think is the line here. And then if I was to line it up there, that's way too thick. I wouldn't pot that black, that's no good. What about if I pick this line of aim? Well, that looks a lot too thin. That's nowhere near, that's going to send the black into the side cushion. And then I'll go, okay, well if I stand in between those two, making a judgment, I think that's where I need to hit that black so that that black goes into the pocket. So every time I'm aiming, I'm not there lining it up thick first, then lining it up thin, and then picking a middle point. I've got enough experience now and I've been doing it long enough from behind the shot like this that I feel comfortable to, as I approach a shot, let's say I'm walking around to this black, to just go straight behind what I think is the line of aim and then do my walking and play the shot. So that's why I like to use that ghost ball method, because it feels to me like there's no complicated calculations to be done. I haven't got to pick a point and then aim the edge of the white to the point because I can't hit the middle of the white like we looked at earlier. So there's nothing complicated about the ghost ball method. You just imagine where your white needs to go on that black and then you hit your white onto that imaginary white, and the ball should go into the pocket. The more you do that with repetition, you'll build up that angle recognition in your mind, and you'll start to just stand above the shot like I am behind the line of aim here and pick out the potting line that you want really easily. Now, I just thought I'd put this clip in of Sean Murphy, because he's somebody that tends to look from the point of view of the object ball to the pocket a lot when he's playing. So I've got a few examples here of Sean playing where he doesn't actually do that. And so it was a good way of just highlighting what I mean about that you don't have to do it like that. It's just a way of getting the brain more comfortable with the potting angle and just giving yourself a bit more information. So when I say that I don't particularly do it that much, I absolutely do it. I'm doing it probably more in matches because it gives me that bit of reassurance. It builds up my 3D model of the table and gives me that more information. Well, I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of Sean here. This is Sean playing in an exhibition, and he has two 147s in the same match. So he's just potted the black there, and the white has just come off the cushion. There you see he just walks straight past that line from the red to the pocket there and straight down to the line of aim. Obviously a bit awkward on that one because he was reaching around the table. Now this black is quite thin, probably thinner than the one in our example in this video today, and he didn't bother to go around and have a look at that one. He just stayed on the line of aim and potted that. Now this is one where he does have a little look, so he screws the black on and off the cushion, and then he comes and has a bit of a look. So he does a bit of a check there, you see, because it's quite a big angle, and then he goes back round to the line of aim. So you see he did do it that time, and then he gets the pot nicely, screws off the side cushion. Now in this last example, he's potting this red. You can see he's leaving a big angle on the black here, so he's quite high up, and he walks straight round to the line of aim and just gets straight down to pot the black. So he didn't come and have a look from the line that the black would take to the pocket there. And then again, he gets the pot on that black. So just to be clear then, having looked at those videos of Sean there, I'm not saying at all that it's not a good idea to look from the object ball to the pocket. It's incredibly useful, but I just want players to know why they're doing it. And I think three main reasons are: one is that it builds up your 3D model of the table. By having a look from that different perspective, you're just feeding your brain a bit more information, and it all helps. A second one is when you've got quite big angles, or if you're potting into a blind pocket, it just gets the mind more comfortable and it just removes some of the anxiety on the shot. It's a good idea to go and have a look from that other perspective and just visualise the ball going into the pocket. And then I think the third reason possibly for some players is they are actually going and having a look and visualising where they want their cue ball to end up. So a bit like the ghost ball, but they're just having a look from a different perspective. So I'm not saying don't use it, it's incredibly useful, but I just wanted players to know why they do it. Now you'll have seen that all the way through this video so far, I've been talking about lining up the shot, standing up, standing here, and picking out where I need to strike that black ball. So that's where 90%, even more than that, probably 95% of your aiming is done in snooker. In this standing position, it's almost all done before your hand even gets to the table and you're down in your address position. So I've picked out that line of aim, and then the last little bit is that when you get down, you're going to just do some checks to make sure that you're happy that you still think you'll pot that ball. So I pick my line of aim, then I'll do my walking, and I'll get down, and then I'll do my aiming checks, and I'm looking between the white and black and saying, right, if I strike there, do I still think it's going to go in? If I do, play the shot. So I play it, watch where the black goes. So I've potted that ball nicely. I stayed down, I got my feedback. If I jump up too quickly there, or if I feel like, oh, I haven't potted it, so I quickly jump up and look away, you're not building up that feedback in your mind of what it looks like when you're standing up, what does it look like when you get down to the shot, and using all that information that you've got of those two images, the standing image and the image when you're down, you start to build up that angle recognition in your mind. So just as a quick example here, let's say that I'm lining up this black and I've picked the wrong angle when I'm standing up, so I was too thin. So let's say I'll do that. And then I get down to my shot, I'm lining it up, it looks okay to me, and then I'll play the shot, and it's hit too thin, I've stayed down. Now what you're trying to do is make sure you're storing that information. So if that looked okay to you, but you got a result where it was too thin, maybe play another 2, 3, 4 shots there, and just try the same thing. And if you constantly hit them too thin, you can start to say, okay, that picture is slightly wrong then, the one that I'm forming in my mind. I need to aim up for where it looks to me like I'm going to hit that ball a little bit too thick. Then if you aim up like that, you'll probably find you're a lot closer to the pot. and then you can force yourself to do that 10, 20 times, and the more you keep forcing yourself to get used to that new image, the more that new image will just become, okay, that's working now. Every time I play that shot, the ball goes into the pocket, and that feels nice and comfortable to me. So you've learned your potting angle and you've stored it in your mind. And this is the quickest way to get yourself to learn all the potting angles around the table and start feeling more confident with potting these object balls. Now, the last thing I want to address in this video is this. So now all of a sudden we've got lots of balls surrounding the pink and the black spot, and this is where you can not get the pot just because of the anxiety of trying to move the white ball into the correct position. So I've got exactly the same potting line on the black, but it's very common here for players to be more concerned about what the white is doing and preoccupied with getting that white into a perfect position, and then they forget about potting the black in front of them. So it's a fantastic habit, and this is why I always talk about the pre-shot routine as well. To part of your standing up and lining up the shot here, another part of that is actually planning exactly what shot you're going to play. So that should involve here picking out where I want to get my white, so where do I want my white to go to, and then deciding, okay, well, how do I do that? How hard have I got to hit it, and where on the white have I got to hit it? So on this shot, I'm going to pick my same line of aim by standing behind it here. As we talked about earlier, you can come here if you want, give your brain a little bit more information. There's nothing wrong there with giving your brain a little bit more information. So when I come round to look here, I don't actually do it for the purposes of looking at a point on the back of the ball. I'm just building up my 3D model of the table. I'm just having a look from this perspective as well, and that helps me to come back here now and pick my line of aim. So I'm standing behind my line of aim. I know that I want to play topspin on the black, so it bounces off this cushion, comes over to here, and hopefully leaves me a shot on one of those two reds. So I know it's not a very powerful shot, about a 4 or a 5 in terms of power, probably a 4, not very powerful. Standing behind that line of aim, walking into that line, doing my feathers up, got to get the power right, not very hard. Play the shot, stay down, and you can see that the white has bounced off nicely onto those two reds. And what I do there, as I say, is I've made a detailed plan. I've picked my line of aim, then I've made a plan for exactly what I want to happen with the white, how I'm going to get the white into that position, and by keeping my mind nice and comfortable before I even get down and my hand hits the table, it means I've removed some of that anxiety and I can just purely concentrate on potting the black. So as always, I really hope you found this video useful. You can see that that's why the professional players have that advantage, because they're lining the shots up in a consistent way each time. They've picked a method for lining the shots up, they stick to that, they do it consistently on every single shot, and that's then what starts to build up that angle recognition much more quickly in your mind. As always, if you did enjoy this video, please remember to give the video a like. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That really helps me to just keep this content coming. There are lots of instructional videos, recreating shots, exhibition shots, and fun videos on the channel as well. So as always, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.